One of the things I found interesting, like after all of this, 90 minutes, he's at, say, let's call it 15%, right? Somewhere in there. And last night there was nothing from the Biden side of things. They're just like kind of ignoring him still. Is that what we're going to see for the next 6 months until Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina?
They have to.
Why?
Because you can't give this guy credibility. If you're the sitting president of the United States, to act like somehow he's a threat to you really doesn't do well from a PR standpoint. Look, I think Kennedy has got a shot at embarrassing him in New Hampshire as a combination of a variety of things. One, Biden's still not getting about 40% of support from the Democratic Party. Two, he's got the Kennedy name, New Hampshire's proximity to Massachusetts. And three, there's a lot of people in New Hampshire, Democratic voters, that are upset about how the DNC and Biden has tried to move the New Hampshire primary and take it away from its first-in-the-nation state status. I don't think it'll matter. The state law is clear on this. But I mean, the point is, it's a bit of a protest vote. It'll embarrass Joe Biden potentially. But at the end of the day, Joe Biden's going to be renominated as the Democratic nominee. I mean, this is a distraction to some degree.
To the Biden team.
Yeah.
Here was RFK Jr. last night on Joe Biden and whether or not he might actually support him.
As a lifelong Democrat, as you just said very passionately, will you pledge to support whoever the Democratic nominee is, whoever it is, whether it's you, whether it's President Biden?
Oh, of course I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to
do that.
No, of course I'm not.
So
listen,
if you don't get the nomination, you won't support President Biden?
I don't know what I'll do. Let's see let's see what happens in this campaign. Let's see, what if people are living up to democratic values and having debates and having discussions and, talking to each other, but I'm not going to buy.
And if you feel that's not happening, would you then support a Republican or run as an independent?
You know what? My plan is to win this election, and I don't have a plan B.
How significant is that? Because if there's actually, call it 10% group that supports him, and if he doesn't support Joe Biden, could that matter in a general?
Oh, I think you got to watch the third parties, whether it's the No Labels group or whether it's Cornel West. I mean, we saw so many states, as Sean knows, so close.
Three within less than a percentage point.
It can make,
totally
make the difference. Totally. But I also agree with Sean is that the president can engage. However, the president's got to get out there more. I know he's doing an interview today. I don't think that's a coincidence. RFK Jr. is getting a lot of free media time, and you have to do that. Trump did it. Hillary Clinton did not. Who won that race?
Right.
Very important.
I do. I agree with you. He has to get out there and speak to his supporters and really reassure the Democratic base that he is their president and really take the lead on a number of these issues. Sean, to your point earlier, though, I just wonder, is there a coalition of voters, both on the Republican and Democratic side, that he is really bringing together?
Look, I will say this. If you really want to know how this election comes down to this cycle, Bob just pointed out, I've been saying this since 2016. The strength of a third party is it. Michigan in 2016 was won by 10,704 votes, right? That's it. A third party, Marianne Williamson or Joe, if any of these guys say I'm going third party in a couple key states, you think about Georgia, Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin, that's enough. Those are, you can easily I can get you to 97 electoral votes that are swing electoral votes with a strong third-party candidate. So what RFK does, who he throws his support to, how well Cornel West does, that's the key to this election.
Yeah, those three states from the last election, less than a percentage point. You're talking about 37 electoral votes. That's a 74 vote swing.
And in the two, there were less than three.
Yeah, right. On the issues, because we talked about this, there was a lot that RFK didn't necessarily fall in the Democratic lane on, but here's what I found interesting. It was a conversation on guns. I want to play for you first what he said about the Second Amendment. Watch.
We have a gun problem in this country. We have a Supreme Court now that has given a very expansive view of the Second Amendment. And I believe in the Constitution, including the Second Amendment. And practically, I do not believe that there is within that Second Amendment that there's anything that we can meaningfully do to reduce the trade and the ownership of guns. And I'm not going to take people's guns away.
So in a Democratic primary, that's obviously like a whoa kind of moment, right? But then just after that, there was talk about an assault weapons ban, and here was RFK Jr.
I want to ask you about the fact that you're running for the Democratic nomination and 77% of Democrats support an assault weapons ban. Do you not support an assault weapons ban?
If we can get a consensus on it, if Republicans and Democrats agreed to it and it passed Congress, I would sign it.
So that was the first moment, I think, and it was 75 minutes in, give or take, that you finally had RFK aligned with basically every single Democrat.
Oh, I don't know that.
Most
I'll let
consensus.
Darian answer that. I'm not sure that even got
Darian,
it.
do you think it made it there?
I don't think it made it there.
No, why not?
No, well, I think that when you look at what he said, there was no context around, there was no concrete plans around what he would do to get to an assault weapons ban. He said if there's a consensus,
if there's a consensus,
if we
that's
get there,
the
but
edge
getting
a
to
little bit, right?
consensus is what's important here. And we have to build, when we talk about coming in as a third party or potentially coming in and winning, which to your point, I don't think is likely.
And there's not a lot of Republicans who
and there's
support
not
assault weapons.
exactly getting to consensus and having a plan and bringing together a coalition that's willing to do this without touching the Second Amendment is wild.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.